Okay, here's the Eccentric Cam from the curriculum, with the small change that we have a square hole for the axle as opposed to a round hole. So that will go with the standardized plastic parts that we've 3D printed. And you'll notice that the dimensions on this activity are given in terms of parametrics of the diameter. So therefore, that's what we're going to do. The other thing we're going to be very careful about is we want the center of the axle hole to be the origin for these cams, and that will make the assembly a lot easier. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start a new inches part. Just a sketch on the front face. I'm going to use the polygon tool with 4 sides to draw my square, and we'll go ahead and square that up and dimension it to be 260 thousandths. Okay, so that provides enough clearance to have a nice tight fit. Oops, I exited my sketch by accident there. Okay, and then since this is done with parameters, as soon as I draw that, I'm going to go ahead and go in and add a user parameter D for diameter, so that way it'll be laid out exactly like the measurements in the activity, and you could select anything from 1 inch up to about 2.5 inches for a diameter. So I'm going to go ahead and just arbitrarily say 2-inch diameter. So now I've defined that user parameter of 2 inches. We'll just go ahead and draw a circle, and we'll dimension that circle to be a diameter of D. Okay, which will change it to 2 inches. We still want this part fully constrained, so we need a constraint from that center point to the center point of the square, which is D divided by 4. Okay, and you'll notice it still says 1 dimension is needed. Okay, well, there's a tool down at the bottom that will show all degrees of freedom. So if I do that, we have the right dimension, but it still can rotate around the origin. So I don't really want it to do that. So let's go ahead and line those points up to be vertical with each other. So now there's our eccentric cam. Finish the sketch, go ahead and extrude, and in my class we extrude these parts somewhere between 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch. But when we do the extrusion, I'm just gonna usually print them at 3/16, but we're gonna go ahead and do 1/4 inch. But we want to do it as a symmetric extrusion. Okay, so that's the symmetric extrusion. So that it'll go 1/8 of an inch in both directions. Okay, and then where this is going to help us down the road is I want to turn on some of those work features and just make them visible, and that'll help us with our assembly. So you can see now there's the z-axis that I've made visible, and I'm going to want the XY the XY plane. And I'm also going to want one of the other planes. How about the XZ? Although one of the other ones that's going through the center axle, either one wouldn't matter. Okay, other things we could do to finish up the part, of course, change it to ABS plastic and give it a paint job. Alright, so that's the Eccentric Cam.